All right, so thank you all for coming today to hear some excellent panelists share advice for best practices for recording video at home. We have Erica Irlbeck, who is my colleague in the Department of Agricultural Education and Communications. And then we also have Mary Norman, who, as you can see, is an assistant professor of practice over in the College of Media and Communication. And with that, I am going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over to Erica to get us started.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us here today. I was one of those people several years ago that I'm not teaching an online class, and I kicked and screamed and threw a fit. And the one summer, the department chair was like, "No, you're doing this." And so I said, "Okay, well, if I'm going to do it, then I'm going to do it right." And so Carissa Greathouse was very, very helpful to me and helped me figure out some best practices. And along the way, I figured out a few things that were pretty helpful. And so I'll share those with you today. So we have kind of 5 broad topics. So Mary and I are going to talk about the tools that we use to record, suggested length for your videos, lighting, sound, and then posting your videos. And so how to get them off the camera and to the students. And with that, Mary, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the recording tools section?
Yeah, so hey everybody, I'm Mary Norman, and I've been teaching online since 2016. And actually the first class that I ever taught online was public speaking online, which has to be probably one of the most challenging classes to teach online. I was also charged with teaching online, and I had never taken an online class before, but luckily I was simultaneously enrolled in an online pedagogy class. So I used that online pedagogy class as kind of my sounding board, my group therapy to try to figure out how to teach online. And I will say I have come a long way. In that very first class I taught, I didn't even have a photo of myself on my Blackboard shell. So I've gone from nothing and really not showing my face at all to my students to now where they're probably like, enough already. I don't want to see, all your kids anymore and my dog that just broke into my office. So that's a little bit about me and how long I've been teaching online. So Erica, do you want to start with tools?
Sure. Yeah. And yeah, just you mentioned kids. I have an 8-year-old here at the house, and he thinks it's cute to Zoom bomb me. So just FYI, it happens about once a call. Okay. So first thing that I was going to show you, your run-of-the-mill camera and tripod. This is what I have. I have a Canon 80D, and so I use this for a lot, but not for everything. So I use it for interviews. I do a lot of interviews with industry professionals, people that can explain it better than I do, or people that are doing whatever it is I'm talking about all the time. So I use this a lot. And then also for demonstrations. So I'll share my screen here to show you what I'm talking about. Which screen is it? There it is. Okay. Sorry. Takes me a second here. Okay, so like I'm really picky about how I teach a video production class. I'm really picky about how a microphone goes on. So I did a little demonstration video as to how to put on a microphone the right way. Also with this camera, my 8-year-old shot it. So there he is, my videographer. So yes, it can be done. And like I had to do like an introduction video for something. So yeah, this is kind of what it looked like. So you too can do this. And so the thing about that, don't go out and buy one. If you don't have one, don't go buy one, because these are kind of expensive. And you also probably, with that, unless you can get it in one take, you probably need some editing equipment to go with that, editing software to go with that as well. So if you don't have that, that's fine. What you do have though is your phone. And this is a cheap selfie stick. I think it came from the dollar store, but it works. So if you are going to, and you can do interviews, demonstrations, anything like that with what you have right here. This is upside down, sorry. But this is super easy to use, and you have it. All of us have these things now. I would suggest to you to get some sort of stabilizer. So selfie stick, even these little finger rings help with stabilization. If you're going to use it a lot, I would recommend getting a microphone to hook into it. That just makes it just ups your game and makes your videos a lot more professional. If you did choose to do that, I would go ahead and install iMovie or another free editing software. That's just kind of to trim off some stuff. And then if you wanted to drop in some pictures or something like that, to trim, like, because always at the first of the video, we got to do this whole business and hit record. And, so that way, if you had that free editing software, you could trim off that. So that's another tool that you have in the palm of your hand. Zoom works really well. So if it is important to see you and your screen, Zoom works really well. Again, let me share my screen here again. Okay, so like, oh shoot, there it is. Okay, so this one I was going through what our final project was, and yeah, there's my little Zoom bomber with me. But he was quiet, so whatever. So anyway, Zoom works okay. It can store to the cloud, Zoom's cloud. It can also store to your computer. You can send the link to your students that's stored right there in Zoom, so they don't really have to have anything special to watch it. You can also upload your Zoom videos to YouTube. The issue with Zoom is that I'm not 100% certain about the security of using Zoom. So I would be careful with using Zoom. I'll get to a better platform here in just a second. There's some literature out there that shows that students like to see the professor, especially if the class is 100% online. Doesn't mean that they have to see the professor 100% of the time. So if you need to be seen on screen, this is an option for you. We got an email back in March that said that, your students know what you look like, don't feel like you have to be on screen. But if your class is 100% online, I think it'd be good to show yourself a little bit. Another option is desktop recorder. I use QuickTime, and this is great if you just need to record your talking head. It's great if you just want to narrate PowerPoints. There might be a way, but I haven't played with it enough to figure out if there's a way to record me and the PowerPoint like what you're seeing in the screen. So there might be a way to do that. You can upload it straight to YouTube when you're done. The drawback to that is that your computer storage gets taken up. Best thing to do if you want to see yourself if you want to see yourself and record your PowerPoints or talk through, MediaSite is what I would recommend. It will record your screen, whatever you want to show on your screen. So if you want to walk your students through a Word document, or if you want to record a PowerPoint, or I'll put up our video editing software and walk them through that. So MediaSite is really what I would recommend. It is secure, first of all, so you need to have an e-reader to use it. It stores to the cloud, so it's not going to take up space on your Blackboard or on your computer. It integrates well with Blackboard. You can get stuff captioned easily. The university wants you to use it, and they will help you use it. So I just, to find this, I did TTU MediaSite, and this is what I got. So I would really encourage you to learn how to use MediaSite. You do have to download their MediaSite desktop recorder, but I have only had, in the time that I've taught online classes, I've had one problem with MediaSite, and it lost a video. And that's been the only issue I have had with them. So those are my suggestions for tools. I'll kick it over to Mary.
Yeah, so I am pretty low tech and low frills. So I really use just my desktop computer to record my videos. I do that. I have a Mac, and so I'll start there and tell you that. If you're not a Mac user, I would absolutely just Google, like, I want to shoot a video of myself talking. What do I use? I am very self-taught too, so that's really how I figured everything out. But with a Mac, I use Photo Booth a lot, and that just comes standard on any Mac, and you can record yourself talking. So it would look just like this. And then I can we'll get into getting it on there, but it's pretty simple. And I do that for like my introduction video, Meet Dr. Norman video. I do that for my part of my syllabus talk. If I'm talking about big major takeaways from the syllabus, if I don't need them to see the document, I'll just use Photo Booth. I do use QuickTime if I want them to be able to see the syllabus, if I want to run them through something. But I did want to just caution you. I know that we're all kind of wrapping up the semester, trying to take a break, but also trying to get our head in gear for the summer or for fall teaching. But this is a really good time to just think about what you want your online classroom to look like, because you don't have to have a ton of videos. I think that you can accomplish a lot by just understanding what the purpose is. So if the purpose is connection for your students to understand who you are, then just filming straight to screen of like, hi, this is who I am. I'm a human being and I'm a nice person and I'm friendly. You can do that and check that off pretty easily. You shouldn't feel like you're taking your entire face-to-face class and moving it to online and having to record every single lecture that you would have given. And so I really try to step back and say, okay, well, if I do need to make a video, is it because this is really difficult content? And if it's really difficult, then yes, maybe a PowerPoint is something that I need there. And I need to show my screen. And I use PowerPoint a lot. And I will actually, because I have 3 children, I have a 7-month-old who knows when she's going to be awake or asleep. I record my voice on PowerPoint a lot. And what I love about that is instead of it being a 5-minute clip that if I have an interruption, I have to kind of go back, it's 20 seconds or 30 seconds. And I can re-record my voice and drop it in. And I know that's not a true video, but I actually will convert that over into an MP4, into what will just play like a continuous slideshow. And I don't have to be seen. So I can have crazy hair, you know, who knows what, children in the room, children out of the room, and I can get my lecture done. It does take some planning, but so those are some of my kind of software, hardware things that I use. I also, if you get the time or you want to make an investment, I do have a Yeti microphone and I do love it. And it's fantastic. I got mine at a Black Friday sale on Amazon. So if it's something you might want to just put on your wish list, and they're like $90 to $115. It just depends on the day of the sale and what color you get, what have you. I love mine. I will say it is so sensitive. So if I'm going to be recording a video where I'm showing my textbook or even like picking up a piece of paper or something like that, I do not want to use my Yeti microphone because it will pick up every little crinkle, every time your pen drops, anything. So this is actually what I use for my PowerPoint if I'm just doing audio recording, because I can really kind of focus and control and just speak into that microphone. I don't use it when I'm just doing straight to screen. So, and one other kind of fun thing that is kind of a tool is Flipgrid. And I don't know if you've played around in Flipgrid or not, but it's a really fun, informal way to chat with your students. It's a great way to do introduction videos. It operates a lot like Marco Polo, if you've ever played around in that. But it's really fun for your students because they can do it as an app on their phone or they can use it on their computer. But you set the restrictions. You can say, you've got 60 seconds, record a video where you tell me your name, where you're from, your major, you know, something fun that you've been doing. And then you can answer back all in video format. So that's a really easy way that doesn't have a lot of pressure and you don't feel like it has to be edited and perfect. Mistakes are expected. I had one student, like the best Flipgrid video I've ever seen. He introduced himself while he was on his bike ride. So really cool, memorable, and they can get creative with it. So that's what I have for tools.
My 8-year-old's class, they use Flipgrid all the time. So 8-year-olds, and like, there's some kids that are good at it.
Yeah.
Really good at it. So
yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention, if you are going to record a lot that saves to your computer, it's not saving to a cloud, get you an external hard drive because these videos take up a lot of space. I've spent several afternoons deleting stuff because it was just, lesson learned. One thing that, since you mentioned sound, Mary, let's jump to that right now. Cause I have the fun Blue Yeti mic I wanted a
Okay.
blue one, so it's pretty. But another thing that about that, the computers nowadays have nice enough mics that they work probably good enough for what you're doing. So I just now got this mic this year. So I've been using the built-in mic on the computer ever since that. Few other things though, like if you don't have carpeting in your room, it can sound like you're in a bathroom. So, think about the dynamics of your sound and just do a practice video, see how it sounds. And if it does sound really echoey or tinny, then you may want to consider investing in a different microphone or changing your location. But again, what's built into our computers nowadays is pretty good. Do you have any other suggestions on sound?
That's really it. I just have to control my environment a lot. And so my laundry room is actually right next to my office. So it's not like, oh, start a load of laundry and go shoot my video, because it just has that kind of rumbling or some weird white noise that I can't control. So just trying to think through things like that. Of course, silencing your phone. I mean, you don't really think about it, but like how many times I've had to re-record a video because I get a phone call right in the middle of it. Just trying to minimize some of those distractions. Yeah, the Yeti mic picks up a lot, and your computer's pretty great. If you are going outside and you're using your phone, just think about wind. But Erica seems to be pretty handy at the microphone outside. So I'll have to be brave and try that.
Another topic we wanted to talk about was length of your videos. The online learning literature says 7 to 8 minutes tops. 5 minutes is preferable. And just think about yourself. Are you going to sit down and watch a 50-minute lecture? No. So, and you look at your materials and what do you have and how can you divide that up? So, look at your lesson as a whole and how can you chunk that up into sections? I'm on our church's marketing committee, and they were, for Facebook purposes, we were talking about doing things, and they call them snackable sermons. So really, like, instead of getting the whole buffet, let's give them just a snack of the sermon. So think about that with your lesson. How can you chunk that up? And another thing, what has somebody else said that they might say better than you? So there is a YouTube video for everything, it feels like. So go look on YouTube, go try to find reading materials so you don't have to video your entire lesson. Think differently about the content that, classroom versus online setting. How could you do this differently? How can you find something that might be better or more interesting? And it's not to say don't record video, but think about trying to do some different ways to present that information.
Yeah, I was going to just follow up and say teaching online has always had the misconception that it's easier to teach online than it is to teach face-to-face. And I think that we have all really come to the conclusion that that's not true. It takes a lot of time and effort and energy, and recording videos is very time consuming. So even though you think this will be a quick 5-minute lecture with a PowerPoint, well, you've got to create that. You have to think about what you're going to say so that it's organized. Then, you got to download it and upload it and do all this. And I mean, before you look up, it's 2 hours later. So you really can't do that for every little thing. And so if there's a way to do it without you recording a video, I'm always a proponent of that. And that can look differently. You can teach by saying, hey, read this section of the chapter and turn in lecture notes for that portion. If it's not an exceptionally complicated idea, you don't have to be the one to introduce that topic to them. You can spend your time in your video talking about the thing that's really complicated. And then I also agree with Erica, find someone else. Like if there's a YouTube video, and I taught data analysis, there were beautifully produced videos. There was no reason for me to reinvent the wheel with all of these different examples. And so I would find a couple, it would be the same sort of topic, like, we're just going to do, frequencies. We're just going to do frequencies. And so I would find 3 different videos on frequencies, and they would get to hear someone else talking about it, which is really good. So don't flatter yourselves in thinking that they only want to hear from you, or that you're the best one to teach them. Some of them are not going to be able to stand your voice. So if you can pepper in a couple of other voices and faces, I think that's always a really good thing. So yeah, short, 5 to 8 minutes. And I always apologize profusely if I have shot something that is like 9 or 10 minutes, but sometimes you just have to go with it.
The next topic is lighting. And, I've kind of had to tinker and toy with the lighting in this room quite a bit. There are small little lights that you can get. So, and it really can make a difference. So, this isn't the best, but this is a little, let me turn it off so I don't blind you. This is called a flow light. I think these are made for video. So this was kind of expensive. And I'm just got on one of these little cheap bendy tripods here. You don't have to get all that. Like, you can just use a desk lamp. The thing is, get light in front of your face. If you have light behind you, it can really make you look like you're in the witness protection program. So, just be light in front of your face is the key thing. So, and like, I've got several different lights and lamps in here, and my husband was real picky about it. He was like, no, you got a big shadow. So we fiddled and futzed with the lights until we got something that's workable in here. But it can make a difference. And just be aware of the shadows and dark spots on your face.
Yeah, same thing. I've played around with the light enough in my office that I know what is kind of the best combination for my space. So I have horrible fluorescent lighting above me, as I'm sure even in our tech offices, you probably have that as well. So if you can turn those off, that will do a lot to improve your appearance. I'm also a big proponent of natural light. So I actually have a pretty small window just right over here, and it's diffuse light. And then the only other light I have in my room is my desk lamp. And another thing I think people forget is that your computer monitor itself puts off a lot of light at you. And if you've been on a Zoom call as the sun goes down, you'll see that kind of change. So it's interesting to see like how you would have to adjust at different times that you're filming. And then, Eric, I don't know if you have any good tips about glasses with reflection. Do you have anything, or anybody know any great tricks?
Not really. No.
Yeah.
And usually it's when it's head on or straight overhead, they make a weird shadow with the glasses. But if you can kind of get it in an angle, it makes less of a glare off of them.
Yeah. So just play around with it and schedule a Zoom call or something like that with friends and see how you look best. And I just want my students to feel like this is a calm place and I am confident about what I'm telling you. So that's all I want to accomplish. I don't want like the scary overhead lighting that shows exactly how tired and exhausted I am. So you just have to figure out what your goals are.
So the last point that we wanted to make was on posting your video so that it is shareable to your students. So you can do a wonderful video, but it doesn't do any good if it can't get to the students. Media site, again, would be what I would recommend. And again, they will help you. It's password protected, so it's not out there on YouTube for hackers and trolls to get a hold of. So that would be my recommendation. And once you've finished your media site video, it's posted. All you have to do is share the link or link through it in Blackboard. And I've even some videos that I have shot. The person that I interviewed was like, I really don't want this out there on YouTube if you don't mind. And so I'll upload it to media site. So it does not have to be stuff that you shot through the media site desktop recorder. I have been using YouTube because of its captioning abilities. So, and that is where YouTube has everything this semester in the switch to online learning, I have uploaded to YouTube because I don't know if I have somebody, I don't have a letter of accommodation on anybody, but I just think if you can offer that, it's great. And it's not perfect at all, but it is something and it shows that you're trying. So, and I just set it to unlisted, and that way just the students with the link have it. Now that class is over, I'm going to go through and switch it to private. But otherwise that'd be my recommendation. Tanya says that she puts hers on TTU OneDrive and then creates a shareable link. That is a great suggestion as well, because that's password protected too. So yeah, that is a great idea. And yeah, OneDrive has tons of storage as well.
Yes, I use YouTube as well and Unlisted for all of the same reasons, to be able to caption and so on and so forth. One thing I will say as a Mac user, and just talking about my little PowerPoint trick of recording audio, is that to make that into an MP4, the only workaround I've figured out is that you have to put that into Keynote. So Keynote is the program that will convert that PowerPoint into an MP4, into a video format that you can put onto YouTube. And I'm very thankful for YouTube and everything that it provides to us as far as captioning goes. I will say though that my students don't tend to love it if you're on Blackboard and there is even like a little YouTube link, if you're creating an item, it stays really small. I don't know if you guys have ever really played around with it on the student view side, but it stays really small. So sometimes I'll put it in there, but I'll also just include the link so that they can click out and they can watch it in whatever screen size that they're most comfortable with. And also going back, keep talking about PowerPoint, but going back to the PowerPoint, I will also post that PowerPoint as just a plain old PowerPoint, because I have students who are much more visual learners as far as like reading text. They don't want to listen to me. They don't want to listen to me read the slides. They would rather just flip through them. And so thinking about different types of learners, your videos, as much as you pour into them, may not be for every learner. So just thinking about that. And I think that's what I had. Yeah.
One other thing that I was thinking about as we're talking through this, I've got lots of gadgets and stuff. I teach the video class, so I should have those gadgets. But know that we as society are getting used to lower quality. I mean, CNN is using Zoom and FaceTime and, so all of these national news networks are using the tools that we have. So don't beat yourself up or spend a lot of time or a lot of money on a lot of equipment to make your videos look really pretty. The main thing is length and content. And once you have that, then you can spend some time on doing the bells and whistles on it. But know that we're just getting used to things not looking as professionally done as they used to be. So, use what you have. And if you can invest in a few things, with your video, if you're going to use your camera, the first thing I would invest in is a tripod. Second would be a mic if you want to spend some extra money on some stuff like that. So maybe have some grant dollars you need to burn through. So
Yeah. And my final piece of advice would be to just think about, is this going to be a video that you use again and again? Because if it is, then it's definitely worth putting in the time and the effort. But if this is kind of a throwaway video that really your students are going to watch one time because it's your, meet Dr. Norman for the summer, I'm not going to be able to use it again come fall probably, right? So really trying to distinguish and separate. If you're talking about current events, don't do those. Don't mention those current events in a video that you're planning to use again and again. Just fight the urge and save that for another video, or, you can just put that into Blackboard as text.
Excellent job. And we have quite a discussion going in the chat. And so if you all haven't had time, everyone on the group, the panel in our room today, if you haven't had a chance to kind of look at some of those resources, I know I really appreciate what Erica and Mary have shared with us today. Lots of great ideas. And I really fought the urge in my tutorial videos I was recording late at night when the kids had gone to bed. I didn't want to mention the virus or the pandemic or anything like that, because I do need to use those again. And it was hard. It was hard not to make a joke about it or to reference things. But those are really good pieces of advice. I want to open it up. There's been some questions posed in the chat, and I've tried to address the ones that I know. But for the sake of time, let's just open it up for questions. If you want to unmute your mic and ask a question or make a comment, please do so.
It looks like Dr. Dorfert, did you ask the question on lighting? What did you need to know?
Because basically, you've shot outdoors, you've had trees and leaves, and then you have offices that don't always have the best lighting there. Do you have any suggestions on how to make sure the image in the video looks good?
If you're outside, one thing that you can use is, well, for one, time of day helps. So if you are going to shoot something outside, morning is the best, evening is second best. Evening comes in a close second. And that helps with a lot of those tree shadows and things, like the lighting is just more level at that time of day. Yeah, you know, if you can use the sun as your key light, as long as it's not just so uncomfortable for you that you're like this in the video. So those would be my recommendations. And sometimes under a porch, you know, depending on where the sun is at that time of day, that looks pretty nice. I've shot on my porch several times. So that can make a big difference as well. So, and in your office, it's just one of those things that you got to play around with until it looks nice. And yeah, bringing in, desk lamps from another room or something like that, that can help make a difference as well.
Any other thoughts or questions?
I have one quick comment. I've used both MediaSite and Zoom now, and what I really like about Zoom is that it lets you record a portion of your screen. I didn't realize how important that was because it's a feature also available in MediaSite, but not in Skype, because you can also record in Skype. But Zoom, you can record a portion of your screen, which is nice if you have to do any PowerPoint presentations and you want to look at presenter notes. So that's just a comment about that.
Good tip. And as we were talking through all the things that you've used and some of the comments, one thing that never got mentioned was Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. So has any experience or advice, reflections on using that?
So I used it not for class, but for lab meetings. We tried it out. And we ended up going back to Zoom because you don't have as many people up on the screen, and my lab wanted to see and talk to each other. I did use it so I didn't do any synchronous meetings during class, like a class session, but I did have synchronous office hours, and it worked well for that. People just hopped in and out, and it worked well for that.
We had a demonstration with Dr. Heidi Brady a couple of weeks ago. She had normally in her face-to-face class, she would have artists come to her class and demonstrate techniques. This is her Horses in Art class. And because of the transition, she wasn't able to invite the artists, but we had a Collaborate session with over 100 students watching an artist in Fort Worth do a demonstration of his techniques and everything, and it turned out fabulous, and we recorded that. It was over an hour long, and it was recorded in Blackboard Collaborate. So you know, that worked out really well, that particular session.
Yeah, this is Heidi, and
oh, hi, Heidi.
With Carissa's help, I mean, I think that worked. It was a great platform for that, and it recorded it, so the ones that couldn't make it, the students that couldn't make it, they were able to, you know, watch the video. But what I was telling Carissa, I was really surprised that there was so much interaction as far as the chat with the artists.
I don't think we have to worry about copyright. You could always do a courtesy contact to that person to make sure that it's okay. But if they put it out on the World Wide Web, especially on YouTube, then I think that it is available for you to share. But if you're going to do like an interview with another professional, they may ask that you keep it password protected or something like that. And with that, you'd certainly want to respect those wishes from them. So does anybody else have any other thoughts on that?
Well, I want to appreciate the time that everyone has invested today on a Friday. It is Friday to be with us. Yes. If there's no other questions or comments at this time, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but I want to thank the presenters very much. If you know how to use the little applause reaction, you could put up an applause for them. So thank you so much for that. And I appreciate the time that you all have invested, and best of luck getting our classes online.
Thanks, everybody.